Hello, welcome back. Now, Harrods staff abused by the retailer's former boss, Mohammed Al-Fayed, will have access to a new redress scheme from today that lawyers hope will offer better access to compensation for victims. Now, Lindsay Mason survived abuse at the hands of Mohammed Al-Fayed. She joins us now. Can I just say, first of all, it is incredibly brave of you to be here on live TV talking in this way. And I just want to reflect that and respect that before we talk. And this interview is in your hands, right? So if you want to start, whatever, talk about what you feel comfortable with talking about. That's the first thing to say, right?
Thank you.
Just to give a bit of context, I mean, how old were you when you first started working for Mohammed Al-Fayed?
I was 20 years old. I worked there from 1989 to 1990 as a PA to Mohammed Fayed. And, I was there for just over 5 months, I think. It was a very traumatic time to remember in my life. But luckily, over more recent years, then Keaton Stone uncovered the traumas because he married to Sophia, and she had said about what happened at Harrods, and I worked there with her as well. So he started connecting the dots, and from those little dots, then the documentary came out, and then hundreds of other women have come forwards.
Yeah.
And in that, our case has gone very big, and so we're feeling much more assured now. I
mean, you completely understandably don't want to go over what happened, right? Because no. I get that. I totally get that, right? It is, I think, reflective of something that is incredibly traumatic in your life, and I just want to make that really, really clear.
Yes, each time we talk about it, we find it re-traumatises us.
Yeah.
Because pulling the plaster off over these last 2 years has been incredibly painful for lots of us, and once this phase is over, hopefully we can really start to work properly on our healing and moving forwards from this trauma.
What was it like, can I ask, when you realised that, other people were talking out? Like, you talked there about connecting the dots.
Yes.
It must have been kind of horrific, but also maybe it was, I don't know, finding other people who had experienced similar things to you.
Yes, it's actually been an incredible journey because many of us sat in our silence. Mine is for 36 years coming up.
36 years of silence?
36 years of silence.
And what do you mean by that? Did you tell anybody?
I told bits and pieces to people, but I would have just sounded totally crazy if I'd come out with the whole thing, because who's going to believe a secretary, working for a chairman of, the corner store Harrods? So, no one would have believed us. And the things that happened over the years, I'd be thinking, hang on, how did that happen? How did no markers come up? How did all the protocols that should have been in place at Harrods, how did we slip through the gaps, Harrods sent many of us to see doctors and have medicals, which was part of the interview with private doctors. And, someone must have flagged that those results were going straight to the chairman. And, someone was paying the bills for these sort of examinations to take place. So I suppose when I realised what a massive enablement system that Harrods had running over so many decades, it took a real shock. And I must say the past 2 years has been a struggle, but I'm finding that it's starting to be a little bit cathartic. And the amazing people that I've met, I mean, the strength that we've drawn from each other has been amazing. And we kind of feel like we're stepping out of the dark now and, into our power.
Yeah, because it does feel, that's a lovely way of putting it. It feels like, reading your own sort of story, that you kind of groomed in a way, like, flown on private jets, taken to Paris, and then obviously taken a very, very dark turn there. We often sort of talk about why is it that women always come out, like, in groups with these kind of historical, but, past allegations. But I get that completely as a woman, right? Because, like you say, you have that fear of not being believed.
Well, people have tried to speak out in the past, and they all got shut down, and the control was so massive that if some people had gone to the police, then they would be spoken to by someone from Harrods, telling them what to do or what to sign, what not to say. We were monitored and followed and threatened for years. So to come out and speak about it was a huge leap of faith, but none of us really thought that there would be so many people. And so then when we understood that, it was actually took our breath away that what we'd actually been in and got through and not been able to decompress from in our heads. Now, you know, lots of us have had lots of therapy and it's helping, and we're understanding that and how it shaped our lives as well.
How has it shaped your life?
Well, it's caused, you know, problems for me. There's a lack of trust, you know, with lots of people, you know, including doctors, institutions. You know, some people didn't have such a good experience with the Met Police, but I am glad to say now that they are really pulling together and, you know, trying to pull all these enablers that turn their backs on us, you know, even if they turned away and ignored it, or the people that really enabled the other crimes to happen, you know, hopefully they will be held to account.
Can I ask why what's happening today matters? It's about a change to the compensation, that's right, isn't it?
Well, what's happened is that the KP Law have negotiated over a very long time for the 260 survivors that are signed with them a survivor-led and trauma-informed mechanisms that takes the power away from Harrods and puts it firmly in the hands of KP Law, so that, for instance, our confidential information, KP Law will have absolute control over who sees that at Harrods, because there's still some senior management. I mean, the MD, some of the legal team, they were there when many of these young ladies were getting abused. And so we can't give their papers over to them for everyone to see. So there's security there, and also there's safety in numbers, because we're going through as a global claim. So if they were going through individually and say you were going through the Harrods redress scheme, which we're not, then Harrods could pick it apart and try and minimise their exposure.
Thank you very much for coming on.
You're welcome.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We've been talking about Harrods there, and I think it's important to say, of course, we have contacted Harrods this morning in the last hour. The retailer has given us this response. We've recently entered into a memorandum of understanding to explore a global settlement with KP Law, a legal firm representing some Harrods survivors. In keeping with our survivor-focused and trauma-informed approach, it's important that survivors have access to transparent information on redress routes available to them, and as such, we wish to clarify this and any form of redress for survivors, as with the Harrods redress stream, will follow the same established legal principles regarding the value of compensation awards and how these are assessed. Any suggestion otherwise is misleading for survivors of Fayed's abuse. While it is at the discretion of the legal firm administrating a global settlement to choose how an offer is allocated between awards for survivors and legal fees, our hope is that every survivor receives 100% of the compensation, a commitment made by specialist abuse firms using the Harrods redress scheme.